Hello, my name is Vineet Desha.
My name is Sal.
Maverick Crawford.
My name is Michael Paulino.
This is my son John.
My name is Jose Velasco Jr.
I am Danielle.
I'm Eduardo Gutierrez.
My name is Amin.
And I'm an autistic man. I also run an online support group for autistic adults. We've got about 1,500 members. And I serve on the board of directors for the Autism Society of Texas.
Yes, I have had a police interaction with the police officer. Like when I was walking on the side of 360, I was first talking. Like the police officer stopped me and just wanted to check if I was okay, and then the police officer asked me for my ID, and then he was asking other police officers to come, and then, but they weren't going to arrest me. They were just checking to see if I was safe. Because they got people were a little scared that I was walking on the side of 360s.
Well, yeah, my mom had a car wreck once. Another car hit us, and I was rear-ended.
Okay, and did the police come?
No, the ambulance came.
Yeah. Did they help you?
Yeah.
When I came to work one day, I noticed that everyone was outside, and one of the guards there told us that there's been something inside the building, and we just went straight back home and waited for the all clear. At first, I was really confused, but when I heard about the situation, I wasn't scared, but I just kept guessing what the outcome will be.
There was a mom with a very young child. This happened quite recently. She just thought it was really weird that these two men, men were at the park during the day. So she called the police. So the police came, an officer came, a uniformed officer came and started questioning John and Ben, and John obviously wasn't answering. And then John's attendant, he didn't handle it quite as well as he could have, but he was really angry because they weren't doing anything wrong. They were just minding their own business at the park, and he probably, might have overreacted. But the point being, John's always going to have somebody with him, and that could look like two young men hanging out at a kid's park during the day because he likes to go to the park. He likes to shoot baskets, he likes to swing, and, that might be, that could look funny too. That could look funny to someone who doesn't understand or doesn't know them.
I had a suicide attempt when I was about 19 years old. So I was trying to hang myself in a suicide attempt, and I fell on the ground and the rope tore, and I was able to be resuscitated, and I'm still alive today. So the law enforcement came over and told me what was going on, why'd you commit suicide, which I thought was a kind of lousy question because it was the reason I was trying to kill myself. He really tried to tell me you need to get help, you need to get yourself together, you're too young to be trying to commit suicide. But the one thing I understand that really affected me when interacting with law enforcement, that he put handcuffs on me. Probably because I was in the act of suicide, he put handcuffs on me and told me that this is the reason why I'm about to put you in handcuffs, because I don't want you to do anything to yourself again.
Okay.
So I guess it's a safety precaution, but
sure.
It still made me very, what's the word I'm looking for? Uncomfortable, sure. Because I'm in handcuffs. I'm like a criminal stuffed in the back of a police car.
Right.
And I'm a real tall guy, so it was a real uncomfortable ride. So
so he arrested you?
Yes.
For what?
For suicide, for attempting suicide. So I was placed in handcuffs, which is kind of silly that they do that. The last time that happened, I wasn't arrested. It was another officer. He just let me ride in the back of the police car. But that moment still is in my head when I interact with law enforcement. If they're gonna find out that why I committed suicide and they're gonna try to arrest me again and things like that, are they going to take me to jail? Because he told me I thought they're going to take me to jail and they put me in handcuffs because that's what cops do. When they arrest you, they take you to jail.
Sure.
My best advice is listen. Do not pressure them, because if you don't listen, don't pressure. You don't if you don't listen, and if you listen and pressure, it would be harder to process that information and force things that they don't understand. You know, they think they're at fault, they're guilty of some instances, but they're not.
In a regular day, I'll be just normal. I'll be just just doing my thing, and I'll be just relaxed. But in an emergency situation, I'll be really nervous. I'll be pacing around. I'll be mumbling to myself, and I'll be like really, really getting. And at some point, I'll be sometimes even getting really, really upset. And really anxious too.
What does that look like when you get really upset?
Like,
Okay.
oh no, what do I do? No, yeah, that one.
When an emergency comes up, it sort of feels like I would say a disruption, a simple a disruption, but a disruption with a reason.
In an emergency, I might react to some shock depending on what the emergency is, but I always do what I'm told to do if there is such an emergency.
I know that the two things that the police expect when they show up are for you to remain calm and to follow their directions. My brain doesn't always allow me to remain calm, and it doesn't always allow me to follow directions. So even if I just get pulled over for a traffic ticket, when the officer approaches my car, the first thing I say is, I'm autistic. If I don't listen to your instructions the first time, I'm not trying to ignore you, I just might not be able to follow.
First, I want to also have some compassion to understand the situation and to just talk to me like he's a therapist or a psychiatrist and just say, hey, I understand you were going to attempt suicide, but I'm here to help you. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm not here to arrest you. Letting you know that they're here for you, to make them feel comfortable, make a person with autism feel comfortable. That would have made me feel comfortable if he would have told me those things. Like,
Sure.
I'm here to help you. I'm here to get you the help that you need. I know you're going through a rough time right now, but we're gonna get you squared away and things like that. Just trying to help me. So you're not under arrest. You're not in trouble.
Right.
We want to get you the help that you need. So if you would please come with me, and let's get you that help. Like, I'm on your side and things like that. Just trying to be more compassionate and show support and care for the individual, because when you put them in handcuffs and don't tell them where they're going. I mean, even with juveniles, you gotta tell them why they're being arrested,
Right.
where they're going, and things like that. It's a part of the law.
It's
So
also common courtesy.
and common courtesy. That's why we should have the same thing when it comes to people in situations like I was in.
Emergency situation is if somebody is making a very mad or angry face at him, he can be prone to nervous laughter, and that does not go over well, I can tell you.
Well, it depends on the level of disability they're on. So you just have to be careful because sometimes they're below and above average. I can tell you one example. When I was in middle school, there is a really hyperactive kid who had I believe had disability.
Mm-hmm.
He would sometimes he would have fits. So one day I actually had to see him being dragged out of the classroom, screaming and yelling, and it was kind of scary.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something you gotta be careful with.
Okay. So you think your advice to the officers might have been to either intervene earlier or intervene in a different way that didn't require them to drag him out of the classroom?
You just have to be aware.
Okay.
You have to pay attention.
They should look for signs that they are nervous about what happened in interactions or an accident where police are involved. Then they may be able to communicate better.
I would like for them to be more calmer towards me or anybody on the autism spectrum. They should be that authoritative or shouting and stuff. They should just be really soft and just see what is going on, so it doesn't put me or anyone in a position where it will cause problems.
Well, for mental health, I say just to be more compassionate for both mental health and autism, do some more training and be patient with these individuals and be direct as possible when you're kind of like an example, just tell them where they're going, what's going to happen, what's the outcome, your name, that we're going to help you, we're not here to hurt you, just things like that. They can feel confident and comfortable doing what you ask them to do, because a person with autism is not very, it takes them a long time to calm down. When law enforcement comes in and tells them, asks them, it's very intimidating. Being a law enforcement with somebody with autism or mental illness is very, very intimidating. They think they're going to shoot them, they're going to kill them, and things like that. So they have to be more compassionate. They have to be more understanding, and just approach the situation as calmly as possible. Just telling them, hey, we're here to help you. We're here to, you're not in trouble. We're going to get you the help that you need, and things like that. Just be supportive of them. And you don't want to be too aggressive when you're dealing with them, like what other people put your hand behind your back, arresting. We don't do the typical police work. We don't want to be as more nurturing and calm as possible.
Okay. Don't assume that the way they look on the outside is what they're really like on the inside. John would present as, being very, very cognitively impaired, and I would say he's probably not super cognitively impaired. Functionally, he's very impaired. He would also present as if he doesn't have any sense of what's happening around him, and I would say, based on my experience of living with him, he usually does know what's going on around him. You might or might not think he had hearing impairment. He absolutely does not have any hearing impairment. He has some listening impairment, selective, it's some selective listening.
No offense.
Yeah.
They're slow and intimidating.
Okay.
What I mean by that is, like, when they take forever behind a squad car or something, they always type in their laptop, like, what is this person searching for? Is it a background? Do I have a bad background? Do I have something to, like, prevents me of, will I be under arrest for something Besides this, not many police officers will understand this communication impediment concept. They will still need to learn more future training about the person, or just, sit in panels or discussions about the person with autism. Learn from the expert, which is the person who has the diagnosis, not just by reading it off in a book.
Well, my biggest concerns have to do with first impressions and communication. I have read a number of stories that involved an autistic person getting killed because they had a butter knife or their favorite shiny toy. There was that story a couple of years ago where actually would have been me, a guy got shot while he was walking around a neighborhood on a neighborhood walk with one of his patients. And I have patients that I make house calls to, and I do that. So I guess with me, it would have just been an added layer of irony. But I do worry about those first impressions where, officers are trained to assess risk and assess situations for danger. And the exact same signs coming from a neurotypical person that definitely mean danger, coming from an autistic person, it might mean you need to count to 10. It might mean you need to wait for them to take deep breaths. It might mean that you need to duck, but assuming that the behavior of an autistic person is going to fall in line with the behavior of a neurotypical person is folly. And then the communication, like I said, I can go mute, I can go nonverbal, I can also stutter, I can also think that I'm talking calmly and lose control of my volume. There are any number of things that would make either me incomprehensible to an officer or the officer incomprehensible to me. And when communication breaks down, then you have an issue. I know that the police aren't necessarily trained to be rough, but they are trained to be abrupt and decisive. So whereas you may not really be barking orders at someone, you might just be making sure everyone can hear and make sure that you're clear and you're following protocol. Okay, well, to an autistic person in a meltdown, 9 times out of 10, I'm guessing that's going to sound like you're getting yelled at. And I'm not happy about that, but that's just unfortunately the way things are as they stand. We are weird. We are different. We're going to be loud and ironically annoyed at you for being loud. And we may laugh inappropriately or shout inappropriately. You may be tempted to give us high fives or talk to us like we're small children. But the fact of the matter is, we're people. And yeah, some of us do genuinely have intellectual disabilities and need to be talked to on a different level. But the respectful thing to do and the right thing to do is to presume competence, but not assume compliance.